Greetings, you're watching Dugin's Guideline. In a few days, the armistice will come into effect in Syria. Let us speak about this issue. Instead of guessing whether it will be observed or not, it's better to think about the situation on the fronts. The situation is reminiscent of the end of the Second World War in Europe. The West and its regional proxies, the Saudis and the Turks, using their marionettes, the Islamic State, aimed to overthrow Assad, and when they failed to accomplish this due to Russian and Iranian interference, they decided to simply fragmentate, split Syria. Now there is a question: what would the divided parts, fragments within the country look like? The West insists on the armistice due to the successes of the Russian and Iranian militaries. With Russian and Shia support, Assad's army attacks now the terrorist position without pause. And if this trend continues, the enemies will lose their strategic positions. Jihadists in Aleppo are already in the mousetrap, as well as the other important places. In other words, there is a possibility to conserve and to reaffirm yet the unity of the Syria. To tell the truth, the only one thing that the Russians can do perfectly, in due form, is to struggle. Without this possibility, it would be impossible to create and affirm and conserve and retain such a huge state as Russian Empire was and Russian actually Federation is. And now, starting the good fight, we quickly succeeded in it, surprising our opponents. Of course, later the political system of Syria should be discussed, maybe revised, but first the country should be saved so it could not follow the footsteps of Iraq and Libya. It should not be splitted. And now, the Syria can be saved. But there is armistice. It postpones our offensive operation. It postpones our victory. It allows to the Americans, members of ISIS, the Saudis and the Turks, to gain time for recovery, to lick their wounds, to strengthen their positions, and to start from the scratch. Whilst the West still influences the majority of anti-Assad forces, the separation and fragmentation of Syria is still possible. If there were no armistice, it would be difficult. But suddenly we decided to be peacekeepers instead of being winners. We are not perfect in this. We can win the war, but peace talks, peacetime is dangerous for us. I wish we could use peacetime for our interest, but not at the cost of the victory. In addition, it is unlikely to change our people. We must do only what we do best. Goodbye, you watched Dugin's Guideline on the armistice. The only peace that lasts, that is really peace, should be based on the fact of our victory, and the Syria will be saved.